Bold and strong, but sleek and sophisticated at the same time, the Escalade has been the epitome of American luxury SUV design for 25 years. As robust and as luxurious as an SUV can be, it perfectly represents what Cadillac is all about, the American vision of ultimate luxury. And now, it's time to adapt it for the modern era. It's time for the 2024 Cadillac Escalade IQ, the epitome of style and power, but in an all-electric way. Even though the ICE version of Caddy's flagship SUV was redesigned just a few years ago, GM didn't want to wait for the next generation to introduce an inevitable all-electric iteration. Instead, the management decided on a parallel universe scenario where, besides the V8 rumble, the Escalade would be attractive to early EV adopters as well. Of course, Cadillac already introduced some pretty exciting EVs, such as the sleek coupe SUV called Lyriq, but the company needed a familiar moniker to popularize its EV division. So, they did the same thing GMC did with the recently reintroduced all-electric Hummer. They introduced another Escalade, all-electric and significantly different from the ICE version by all means. With the IQ suffix, the all-electric Escalade clearly emphasizes its electric nature, but the fact is that this is indeed a completely different vehicle. This Escalade rides on the new BT1 platform, designed for EVs on purpose. So, it's no surprise that the biggest relatives are models like the aforementioned GMC Hummer EV and the Chevy Silverado EV. This also includes the highly advertised Ultium battery technology, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Still, the base approach sticks with traditional Escalade postulates, especially when it comes to proportions and overall exterior design. Let's start with measurements. The all-electric version is as bold and massive as the gas and diesel-powered version. Actually, it looks even more imposing than the ICE version, considering the dimensions are much closer to the long-wheelbase ESV version. With 224.3 inches in total length, the Escalade IQ is just 3 inches shorter than the ESV, while the wheelbase is actually longer and goes all the way up to 136.2 inches. The electric iteration is also notably wider by about 4 inches. That's plenty enough to make it look even more muscular, not to mention the benefits in terms of passenger space. In terms of aesthetics, the Escalade does look a little bit sleeker than the ICE version, but it still has that traditional boxy shape. The overall shape is quite similar, but the electric iteration clearly stands out when you look at it from the front. From that perspective, you can clearly see the company's new EV design language and the face that's much closer to the Lyriq crossover than the gas-powered namesake. The headlights are vertically oriented, while the grille stands out with numerous LED points that bring that futuristic vibe. From the rear end, you can notice split taillights as well as a bit of a sloping roof, which is something you wouldn't expect from a gas-powered sibling. Finally, if you check those massive 24-inch wheels, it becomes pretty clear why we think this is the most impressive-looking Escalade we've seen so far. Purists will probably miss that impressive V8 rumble, but they definitely won't miss any power. Moreover, this will be the most powerful Escalade ever. Equipped with a couple of electric motors, the Escalade IQ will feature a max output of 650 horsepower. We know what you're thinking, the Escalade V has more, 682 ponies. But the IQ has a massive ace up its sleeve, and it's called the Velocity Max. With this drive mode engaged, the max output goes all the way up to 750 horsepower and 785 pound-feet of torque. And considering that one electric motor will be on each axle, meaning that all-wheel drive will be standard, we expect nothing but exceptional performance. Will the Escalade IQ be able to hit 60 quicker than the gas-powered Escalade V? It's still unclear, because despite the massive power boost, this Escalade will be much heavier. We still don't know the exact number, but we suspect that the curb weight could be pretty close to Hummer's 9,640 pounds. The officials already came up with a 5-second flat 0 to 60 time in normal mode, so can the extra 100 horsepower from the Velocity Max mode beat the Escalade V's 0 to 60 time of 4.3 seconds? Probably not. As we've just mentioned, the all-electric Escalade rides on the BT1 platform and benefits from the hyped Ultium battery technology. In reality, this means it'll use the same 200 kilowatt-hour battery pack as the Hummer EV. According to the officials, this will be enough for an impressive max range of 450 miles. So, if we do the math, it turns out that the estimated economy goes around 59 miles per gallon equivalent. Considering the expected extreme curb weight, that's not that bad at all, though it's far from great. What's also surprisingly impressive is the max towing capacity, which goes up to 8,000 pounds. We always hear how EVs are notably less capable than ICE counterparts in this aspect, but this is actually just 200 pounds lower compared to the regular Escalade. Everything becomes even more impressive once you realize that the all-electric Escalade actually rides on a unibody chassis. What we really like about the Ultium batteries is their charging speed. Just like in other models that feature this technology, the Escalade IQ will also be based on an 800-volt architecture, meaning that the charging rate will be so good that a proper DC fast charger will be able to add 100 miles of range in just 10 minutes. On the other hand, with the Level 2 charger, the IQ is good for 19.2 kilowatts, which should be enough for about 36 miles of range per hour. Despite the truck-based body-on-frame design, the Escalade has always been all about things like luxury, comfort, and convenience. A few years ago, when the current generation was introduced, we were impressed with its elegant design, high-quality materials, and impressive tech features, including those 3 massive screens. Now, the IQ is about to elevate to the next level and offer something even more spectacular. Of course, the most prominent part of the cabin is the screens. Along with laser-etched backlit wood trim and highly customizable ambient lighting. In the ICE version, 3 screens take the driver's side as well as the center stack. In this case, screens take the whole dashboard with a total diagonal of an impressive 55 inches. Practically, this is the same thing we can see in the Lyriq. Right below the screens, there are super thin air vents, and then comes another screen reserved for the climate controls. Physical buttons have been minimalized, though there are still a few controls on the center stack. Tech wonders continue in the second row, where you can find a couple of 12.6-inch entertainment screens, as well as a fancy-looking rear center console that separates the captain's chairs. A fixed panoramic sunroof is also part of the standard equipment, while audiophiles will definitely enjoy their music coming from the AKG sound system. Base models feature a 19-speaker stereo, but the number of speakers can go to 36 or even 40 if you opt for the executive second-row seating package. Speaking of the tech features, we shouldn't forget GM's well-known semi-autonomous driving system called Super Cruise, which offers hand-free driving across American highways. The list of standard equipment also includes automatic parallel and perpendicular parking, as well as goodies like surround view cameras, pedestrian and cyclist detection, intersection cross-traffic detection, blind spot warning with steering intervention, and many more. As we mentioned, exterior dimensions are impressive, and that means nothing but ultimate comfort on the inside with tons of passenger space. Of course, 3 rows of seats are standard, and from what we know so far, all variants will be offered with second-row captain's chairs, while the third row will offer 3 more seats, so the total capacity goes to 7 passengers. When it comes to cargo space, things are quite similar to the standard Escalade, and notably lower compared to the similarly sized Escalade ESV. In numbers, that would be nearly 24 cubic feet with all seats up and 69 cubes behind the second row. The second row captain's chairs can also fold down, and then the max capacity goes all the way up to 119 cubic feet. Those are some pretty impressive numbers, but that's not all. Since there's no engine under the hood, you may also count on 12.2 cubes of the so-called frunk space. According to the latest reports, the Cadillac Escalade IQ will hit the market next summer. The pricing hasn't been announced yet, but various sources suggest a starting price of $99,000. That's $16,000 more compared to the gas-powered model, but we're pretty sure that GM will once again do the same thing it did with the GMC Hummer EV and offer just the so-called first edition at the initial launch, with the estimated price of around $130,000. The aforementioned base version with the $99,000 sticker price probably won't come before 2025. What do you think of the 2024 Cadillac Escalade IQ? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.